Welcome to Salt and Light Canning. I'm Jessica and this is my kitchen. And today I'm making a potato soup and I'm going to can it so I have soup to take for quick meals. To do that, I'm peeling potatoes. And somebody asked in one of my previous videos if my husband, Mike, standing here, helps me a lot in the kitchen. And you know what? He's amazing, and he absolutely does help me all the time in the kitchen. He is a wonderful husband, and I'm extremely blessed. So,
As I throw them all over the counter.
that's okay. I'm going to get these potatoes peeled. He's going to get them cut up. So, our potatoes are all cut, and it's about that tall in the pot. I don't know how many potatoes that was. It was potatoes. In general, for soup, I really don't measure. I just know that I'm going to fill this pot and I'm going to make sure that I have enough liquid to cover about half to 2/3 ratio liquids to solids. So if you measure, good for you. I just really don't, and this works for me. So please do you. We're gonna add some onions. I'm gonna wash some kale, and then we're gonna cut up some sausages. In your soup, you can have any kind of vegetables you want, any kind of meat you want. It is completely your preference. I have my potatoes and 3 really big onions, and then I've washed a bag of chopped kale. I'm gonna put that in there. I know my pot looks like super full, but all the kale and stuff is gonna cook down. So I'm gonna add some stock and get it on the stove so it can start cooking down. And then I'm going to cut up some sausage and get that in the pot. You can just use water. You can use bouillon. Whatever you would use in your potato soup, use that. Just need liquid, right? Because the liquid is what helps conduct the heat when you're pressure canning to make your food safe. I'm gonna get this on the stove and get it start cooking, and I'll be back when I'm doing something else. So in addition to my potatoes and onions and kale in my soup, I'm gonna add some sausage. These are just kielbasa sausages. You can add any kind of meat you would like. If you wanna add meat, you don't have to add meat. So I'm gonna get these cut up and I'll get them in the pot. All right, I have my sausage cut up, so I'm gonna put it in this pot. And then I'm gonna put a lid on the pot to help the kale to wilt down. If you didn't like kale, you could do some other kind of vegetables or greens. Again, it's your soup. You get to make what you like and don't stress over it, because you know what? It's just soup. All right, so my soup is warming up. I've added more broth, so I have about 8 quarts of broth and about 4 quarts of water. Because like I said, I want to make sure that I have a good ratio of liquids to solids in my jars. I've been stirring it. The kale is wilting down, but now I'm going to add some seasoning. You can add whatever seasoning you like to your soup. It's your preference. Don't stress about soup. It's just soup. Okay. I'm not adding any kind of dairy, as is traditional in like a potato soup, just because I'm not comfortable with canning dairy. However, there's lots of people who are. I'm just not one of them. So I'm going to add some seasoning. This is just a multi-purpose vegetable seasoning, and I like it with like vegetable type food. I think I'm going to do like 3 tablespoons. I am gonna add a little salt because to me potatoes and kale, they end up pretty bland in soup. Probably like 2 tablespoons, and I'll taste it before I put it in the jar. I'm gonna add some pepper. I'll do like 1.5 tablespoons. To me, black pepper does get stronger when you can it, which isn't a bad thing. It's just what it is, but I don't want to overdo it and then all I can taste is pepper. I'm gonna add some garlic. This is just granulated garlic. Probably like 3 tablespoons. I'm gonna add this barbecue seasoning because I like it. 2 tablespoons. I'm gonna add some onion powder. I know I have onion in there, but this adds a different like depth of flavor for onion. 2 tablespoons. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of paprika because I like it. So probably like 1 and then maybe like half. I will taste my broth and see where we are before I put it in the jars. I'll just let everything kind of incorporate, let the flavors combine, and then we will be ready to put this in jars. And I think it's gonna be delicious. I'm gonna let this get all warmed up, taste it, and see if there's anything I wanna add. And then I'll come back when I'm putting it in jars. Oh, my soup is warmed up. It is not cooked. It'll cook in the canner, but I'm gonna get this in jars. Now, my overall goal is to get about 50% solids and 50% liquid. It never seems to work that way for me. I do the best that I can. I want to encourage you to do the best that you can because that's what you can do. And every time you dip back in the pot, make sure that you're stirring so that you can get some of everything. We're going to be filling to 1 inch of headspace because we're pressure canning. All your soup needs to be pressure canned. If there's another way, I don't know it. Bubble, de-bubble, de-bubble, de-bubble. I'm going to wipe the rim of my jar with some white vinegar. If you don't use white vinegar, it's okay. Just make sure the rim of your jar is clean. Put a lid on it and a ring on it. And that is just beautiful. Everything looks better in a jar. And we'll fill up our next jar. So the canner is full. I have 19 pint jars in here. That's why I really love this 23 quart Presto pressure canner for doing pint jars because I can double stack. So I have 2 racks in here, one on the bottom and then a rack in the middle, and then jars stacked. And I usually can soup in pint jars because it's easier to take as a meal for like work or school. So I'm going to put the lid on and bring this up to temperature. And I'm going to have it vent out of this vent, which is a steady stream of steam out of that vent for 10 minutes. Then I'll put the weight on, and when my gauge comes up to 15, I'll start my timer. You can soup at 1 hour for pint jars. So I'll be back when I'm taking them out of the canner. Well, my timer went off and we turned everything off and then waited for it to come down from pressure. Once it came down from pressure, I took the weight off and I did everything just really slow. Okay, so you wait a couple minutes in between each stage. You take the weight off and you wait a couple minutes, then you just turn it a little bit and crack it open and let it sit for just a couple minutes. And I took the lid off and waited a couple minutes. Do everything slow to prevent siphoning. And now we're going to take them out. Just beautiful. We had soup for dinner and it was delicious. Anyway, these are going to sit on the counter and relax and seal and have a good night. And tomorrow I'll come in and take the rings off and wash them up and put them in the pantry. Let me know what you're canning and what wonderful things you're doing. If you want some inspiration, I do have a whole canning playlist. It's wonderful. So check that out. But thank you so much for watching my videos and for supporting my channel. I really appreciate you. Be so blessed. Know that you're loved and be a blessing to someone else. I'll see you in the next video.